All right. So when it comes to the clock, um, the most important thing is that there's two different aspects, right? We have the signals and we have the rules. So as a clock operator, it's very important, and also anyone on a crew, it's very important to know what the signals are because that's going to tell you what the crew wants to do with the clock. But expectations about when the clock would restart again or how long it will be stopped all have to do with the clock rules. And I'll break down major and minor clock stoppages, and then briefly go over how long the periods are at different levels, what we do with timeouts and what we do with injuries.
Okay.
All right. So new officials, as David probably told you, will work clock assignments on varsity games during the first year. But there are many different types of scoreboards, timing boxes. So when we get on the field, um, which, once I have a class cohort, I'll get everybody on the field. I'm going to make sure that we have access to the scoreboard controls so that we can go up and take a look at it. If at the very least, even if it's just you, Max, I'll take you up there and we'll go over it just so you're not completely blindsided in your first game.
Okay.
But of course, knowing how to operate the scoreboard means getting up to the scoreboard ahead of time. You don't want to be figuring it out as they're getting ready to kick off. You want to be there in advance. So even for a youth game, you want to be up in the booth at least a half hour before the game
Okay.
if you're working the clock, especially if you've never worked it before at that facility. But of
Yep.
course, the officials starting and stopping the clock, there's nothing that's going to make a crew more upset than if the clock operator doesn't see the officials on the field trying to stop the clock or especially trying to start it.
Right.
So that's why I start with starting the clock. So starting the clock is to hopefully facing the clock operator, a wind signal, kind of a windmill signal where you start in front of your body and you go all the way up and over your head and it's kind of testing your rotator cuff, but you kind of wind it um, like a clock would be spinning around, a dial.
Yep.
Now you're going to see that most times after a penalty is enforced or another official's timeout. But every time there is a first down, if the ball ended inbounds, the referee is going to do that wind signal and he's not going to blow a whistle. It's going to be silent. Did David talk to you about silent winds?
He didn't talk about silent wines. He did mention that there is times when the clock operator, knowing the rules, might start the clock in effect, uh, even if the referee forgets to make that signal after the first down, for instance.
Well, no doubt about it. Just remember that there's occasionally times where after a first down, they won't start the clock, and that might be because something happened during the play that makes it be a stopped clock.
Right.
Certain penalties at the end of a half, at the end of the game, can allow the offended team to choose to have the clock start on the snap. So that might be a situation where they don't wind it after a first down if there was a penalty.
Okay.
And in addition, if the ball goes out of bounds, certain times the ball goes out of bounds, even if there was a first down, we're not going to start the clock. So let the referee in the case after a first down guide you. The guy with the white hat is going to be the one who winds the clock. If he doesn't, yes, I agree. If it's supposed to start and he didn't start it, hopefully everyone on the crew will notice that. So you'll
Right.
get
Okay.
you'll get a wind signal from everybody.
Okay.
Um, Now, other officials will do that wind signal, like I said, if the clock was inadvertently not running or if they're the ones closest to a kick. So during a free kick on a kickoff, the clock should never be running. The clock doesn't start running until the receiving team or the kicking team touches it legally. So if they catch it, you're going to start the clock. But even if they touch it, somebody on the field is going to give the wind signal. From the clock position, you may not be able to see whether or not the ball was touched, so you really do need to rely on the crew.
Okay.
And that means when you work the game in your first game on your first play, presumably that'll be a kickoff. If you're the one closest to the ball, you must give the wind the clock signal for the clock operator to know to start it.
Okay.
Now,
How about a flag goes up,
mhm.
kid on the kicking team was offsides, on the opening kickoff, flag goes up when the kick is made, and a return starts. You still start the clock on the first touch, right?
Well, if you see a flag down, they should be killing it. In high school football, a foul like encroachment on a free kick is a dead ball.
Okay. You don't play it out then. All right.
No, no, the same is true for I mean, almost every foul except for too many people on the field at the kick. Like if there were 12 and one guy was running off or something, that's like the only foul I can think of where you'd let the kick go.
Okay.
But in any case, if the officials don't they forget to stop it and then the kick gets caught and it's returned, yeah, you run the clock.
All right.
And then maybe they wave off the flag, maybe it fell out of his pocket. But then if they decide there was a penalty, they'll have to put time back on
Okay.
because the clock should not have run.
All right.
Now, everyone, once the clock is running, it'll just keep running until there's a stop the clock signal, and that's this signal. So stopping the clock is always going to be the crossing the arms over the head signal, but there are other signals to stop the clock, and I've given you images here. Safety is an automatic stop clock signal. A touchdown stops the clock, and an incomplete pass stops the clock. There are also 4 situations where the clock will stop at least momentarily every time. And that is if there's a fourth down play, at the end of that play, no matter what happens, interception, fumble, they're short, they made it to the first down, they went out of bounds, whatever, the clock will stop.
Okay.
Because every reason that play ended will be a stop the clock reason. But of
Yep.
course, if a first down is achieved, you're going to stop the clock. If there was a turnover during the play, you're going to stop the clock, at least momentarily. And of course, like you pointed out on the kickoff, if you see a flag on the ground, when the play is over, the clock should stop.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll deal with the penalty. But again, the officials on the field should stop the clock. Now, did he talk to you about the 40-25 second play clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The 40-second starts basically after the tackle. The
Hmm.
25 second clock starts when the ball is set.
Yes,
Uh,
if the 40-second clock was not running, the 25-second clock would start when the ball is placed and the referee declares the ball ready for play.
okay.
Anytime the 25-second clock is going to be used, the referee will start that clock with a whistle.
Okay.
The 40-second clock, though, you're right. It has to do with the end of the previous play, so there won't be a special signal to start that 40-second clock. If it's a varsity game, the back judge will keep that 40-25 second clock. In a 3 or 4 man game, I've had the umpire do it before. I've done it before. Sometimes you just kind of guesstimate it in youth. Because youth football players, especially early in the season, the youngest players, they're going to be taking a long time to get a play in.
Yep.
So you just do your best in that
Right.
situation. But back judges have a special box called a ready ref. That's the general term because it's a brand name for a play clock box, and that will give them a buzz whenever it hits the last 10 seconds of that time. And at 5 seconds, they're going to put their hand up to warn everybody that hey, the play clock's about to expire.
Okay.
Um, And again, if you give the first down signal, whatever you do to say the play is over, whether you put your hand up because the runner was short of the line to gain and you're just marking him down, the 40-second play clock starts. And the stop clock signal, like after an incomplete pass or after a first down, also starts the 40-second clock automatically.
All right, I got a question.
Sure.
The guy doing the play clock.
Hmm.
So he's running a 40-second play clock,
Hmm.
and the thing that would cause it to be 25 is
A penalty
uh
enforcement, an injury timeout, a regular timeout. Anytime the officials stop the game for an administrative reason.
okay, so a clock stoppage would reset it to a 25-second clock on the set on the when the
Yeah.
ball is in play
It,
again.
if
All
if
right.
the officials are stopping the clock in between plays, then you're going to have an administrative stoppage.
So opening kickoff, when
Yes.
he blows that whistle, that's 25 seconds.
Right. Exactly right.
All right.
On the kickoff. Yeah, in college, they actually have a 40-second play clock after a kickoff, so there's no whistle and they just have to hustle. But that rule has not got to high school yet. Any turnover, like change of possession, whether it's a punt return, an interception return, fumble return, when the defense gets the ball and they're going to start a new series, 25
Yep.
second clock.
Okay.
So that's an example.
All right.
All right. Now, like I said earlier, I'm just reminding you after a first down, the referee will signal and then wind the clock. So he'll point for a first down and start winding his arm. So you have to be ready because there won't be a noise.
Okay.
So basically, every time the clock is stopped, you need to keep an eye on the field to make sure you don't miss the silent wind.
Yep.
It's so important when the clock is stopped to not try to put down a distance, to try to adjust a score. If the clock is not running, you don't want to miss the quiet wind the clock signal. So you have to keep an eye on the officials.
Okay.
Um, Once the clock is running, well, you'll hear a whistle when it stops. So you at that point you can take your eyes off the field and do whatever you need to do with the score.
Yep.
So just don't miss a clock signal. It's easy to do. It's easy to lose focus. Believe it or not, operating the clock, it's an easy physical thing to do, but it's a very difficult mental thing to do because you have to
Right.
maintain focus for, 2 hours.
Yep.
Yeah. And people really notice mistakes in fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's one
Yeah.
thing to make a mistake with 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. Probably nobody will notice and the crew won't even care. But in those last 2 minutes of the game or a half, they're going to care.
Yeah. It costs someone a play or someone gets an extra play. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And I'm going to show you a video of a situation like that in a few moments. All right. Now I have to display these because these are the rules that eventually you will memorize. These are the 11 reasons that the clock should start on the snap if this happened during the play. So anytime the ball goes out of bounds and is dead out of bounds, unless it's a forward fumble by the offense, the ball going out of bounds means that the next play will start on the snap,
Okay.
even if there's a penalty or anything else happens. If the defense gets the ball because it's now first down for the defense because of a turnover, it'll start on the snap.
Yep.
After any kick play, if the team gets a new first down after the play, starts on the snap. And again, these reasons, all three reasons are really to give everybody time to get the ball in play, to change the football, to get the new personnel on the field, etc. That's why it's a major clock stopper. If there's a touchdown or a touchback, the clock will start on the snap, even if there was a holding penalty or something that wipes away the touchdown and they go back and replay the down.
Okay.
So what happened on the play matters more than what the eventual result of penalty enforcement is. So that includes a forward pass. Say a forward pass falls incomplete and there's defensive pass interference. Now the offense gets the first down, right? Normally that's not a major stopper. We're going to wind it. But
Yep.
because there was an incomplete pass, that means that the clock will start on the snap.
Okay.
And then these other five reasons, delay game penalties accepted. That's the only penalty that makes a stopped clock is a delay game. for reasons you could probably imagine,
Yeah.
wasting time, right?
Yep.
Anytime you start a new period, like you start the second quarter, it's going to start on a snap, no matter what happened to end the first quarter. Same with the third quarter.
Right.
End of the third quarter, whatever happened, when the clock expires, the play is over, we're going to start the fourth quarter. We switch fields. We're going to start on the snap. And then finally, if there was a fair catch, like a punt, if either team's trying to waste time, you can say, well, forget, you're not going to do that over and over and over again. Like, for example, if you have a running clock and the team waits until 1 second on the play clock and then they intentionally false start
Okay.
and they do it over and over again, or they hold totally on purpose, you're going to get a replay of the down. But the referees have the ability to not let that clock wind up again. They can keep it stopped. And then finally, if there's a charge timeout.
Okay.
So it's a lot of reasons. I think you can see they all have some kind of sense to them because, like I said, you're changing personnel a lot at a time. You're getting a new football, things like that. The minor clock stoppers also stop the clock, but if none of those 11 things I just gave happen, then the clock will start on the ready for play signal by the referee. And those reasons are a lot of stuff we talked about earlier, any administrative stoppage. So, first down injury, penalty enforcement, inadvertent whistle, or that forward fumble by the offense goes out of bounds. We bring it back in and then we wind the clock.
Okay.
Um, Lastly, when you go to a youth game, make sure you know that it's a 10-minute quarter. When you do a varsity game, make sure you know if you're timing it, it's 12. It's a big mistake that a lot of new officials make because they maybe did a bunch of youth games and then they go to their first varsity game and they put 10 because they've been doing it. So you have to make sure that you remember what level you're working.
Yep.
Halftime is a lot longer in varsity than it is in youth and JV. In youth and JV, generally, they can just decide on the field what they want. For varsity games, it's a minimum of 10.
Okay.
I default to 15, but watch the field after the teams have left the field. The referee will give you a signal, and I'll usually put up two hands with all 10 fingers if it's 10. If it's 15, I might give you a 1 and a 5,
Okay.
and if it's 20, I might give you a 2 and a 0. Or it
Uh,
depends on whatever they've told you in pregame they're going to do.
right.
Hopefully, you've got a radio and they'll be able to just radio up and tell you what it is. Now, coming back from halftime, you got to be up in the booth before it expires because you must put a 3-minute time on the clock and start running it. Because every team has to be back out on the field before the halftime clock expires, but then they get 3 minutes to warm up.
Okay.
Varsity games are mandatory. Youth games are optional, and generally they don't care. And the timeouts, most scoreboards will not do anything with the scoreboard when you hit the timeout button, but I know East Lyme will force a 1 minute timer to start timing up on the clock and everybody freaks out. So make sure when you go to a varsity game, practice hitting the timeout button and make sure that that doesn't happen. Because if it does, if when you hit the timeout button, it erases what was ever on the scoreboard and puts up a 1 minute timer counting down, don't hit that button during the game because it'll confuse everybody. The back judge will keep the 1 minute time on the field on his watch or,
What
or
what
even on his ready ref. You don't need to keep track of the charge timeout on the scoreboard.
what referee is in charge of counting timeouts?
The back judge, the same guy who does the
Like,
play clock.
all right.
Yeah.
Is that done through memory or some kind of clicker or
Well, they can use their ready ref, which does a 40-second clock. And generally what I'll do when I'm the back judge is I'll kind of give it 40 seconds.
well, I'm not talking about the time of the timeout. I'm talking about the amount of timeouts used.
Oh, yeah. That's a great point. We have to all write them down.
All right.
So, including you up in the booth if you're a clock operator, but definitely all the youth games, nobody else is going to get it but you. If there's three officials, all three of you should be writing down every timeout. You go You look at the scoreboard, you write down how much time is left, what quarter it is, write down who the timeout is for, so that later on, if they ask how many timeouts did I have left, and you say one, and like, wait, I thought I had two, then you can look at the card and say, remember, you took this one in the first quarter, you took this one, right? So you do have everyone in the crew has to write it down.
Okay.
Now, after a quarter is over, the chains have to be flipped. We will walk through this on the field before you actually have to work a game. It's a whole choreography. The line judge is going to hold the original spot. The back judge is going to run down to the new spot. The head linesman is going to need to flip the chains and walk them down and put them in the right place. And the thing is, you start doing that before everyone's written down where the ball was at the end of the quarter, you can get messed up. So everyone has to write before you move anything.
Okay.
So you write down, okay, it was 2nd and 5 at the 25 going in.
All
Okay,
right.
we're going to flip. So we got to take the chains to the other side of the field, make sure that the line to gain is still the 20, make sure that the down box is still on the 25 and whatnot. And like I said, the manual tells you that the head, and it's not head linesman anymore, it's headline judge. I got to fix that slide. The headline judge, referee, and umpire are going to all move to the new position while the line judge holds the previous spot and the back judge is at the new spot already.
Okay.
So that's in the manual. A lot of times, if it's a real simple, like say we're at the 10-yard line and we're going to the other 10-yard line, the referee will tell the line judge, hey, you don't have to wait there. We all know we're at the 10-yard line, and he'll wave you down. But
Okay.
generally, if you are the line judge, you should hold that position until you're sure everybody knows what it was. Because if we mess it up, we have to go back and look and see where we were. And the line judge is the only one there. So it's interesting. Trust me, it's happened. So you just write it down.
Yep.
And then there's a whole procedure for when a timeout is called by a team. Normally, especially in the last 5 years, coaches do not come out onto the field. If coaches do come out onto the field, only one coach may come out. But if the teams go outside the numbers, unlimited number of coaches can talk to the team.
Okay.
Actually, even without a timeout, the team can go to the sideline and an unlimited number of coaches could talk to them. The play clock will be running, but they can do it any time. So it's called a sideline conference, and a sideline conference can happen anytime. It's just that in a timeout, they've got their 60 seconds. If the quarterback runs over to get the next play, the coach needs to give them, while the play clock is already running, the coach has to quickly give the play and send them back out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the coach doesn't go onto the field during that though, right? I mean,
They should during a timeout. I don't mind if they step onto the field as long as they stay outside the numbers.
okay.
During between plays, I want the quarterback to go all the way to the sideline, but I don't mind if the coach takes a step onto the field.
Okay.
I treat it as a sideline conference. It's
Yep.
just a shorter sideline conference because the play clock is running. But I'm not going to let the coach come all the way out to the numbers. That's an unfair advantage.
Yep.
I tell him, coach, the quarterback's going to come all the way to the sideline if he wants to get the play from you. So, so I'll warn him a few times.
All right.
And I'll say the play clock is running, that kind of thing. Now, when there's a timeout, you don't go have a group conversation in the middle of the field about what you're having for dinner. One official has to stay with the team. So if you're the line judge and the team on your sideline is having their timeout, you stay close by their huddle. And that way you can let them know, coach, your timeout's over. Your timeout's over. Or you can also inform the coach, hey, you've got two timeouts left. You've got one timeout left. But you
Okay.
basically babysit the team. And the only people that are not with the team are the ones who aren't near the team huddle. So then the other officials can can chat about something in the middle of the field, but not all five. Some two officials have to stay with teams.
Okay.
Now, timeout mechanics. If
Situation is
you
going to
see
be a
this
timeout
play,
call by the defense. This is fourth down and long.
we're going to have a timeout
And
called.
defense is going to want to talk it over. So let's take a look at how the crew handles this timeout call by the defense.
So we got an offensive formation. The defense just ran down. Did you see the guy run down?
Referee make the signal.
This guy here with the red hat, he ran down to the official to say timeout, timeout, timeout.
Okay, yeah.
And they did that because, and again, this is a video of me talking about this play, but I'm just going to talk over him. Let me see if I can mute.
Writing down the time and period of
they probably had an open receiver, right? An uncovered receiver or
yeah,
something?
or they actually had a timeout they were saving for when they saw that formation because maybe it's a big play near the end of a half.
All right.
So you can see one official is right next to this team. Another official is next to the other team. The referee and the umpire here, the back judge is timing. The back judge is going to go tweet or give a point or say something to say, hey, the timeout's over. When he says that, now the officials tell the teams, hey, the timeout's over. You know, and he's now telling the coach, you got one timeout left. You've got no timeouts left, right? So you see that this is the proper way to adjudicate a timeout.
Okay.
So in any case, there's no time limit on injury timeouts. Only the charge timeouts have a 60-second delay, 60-second clock. Injuries, it's until it's safe to get the player off the field.
Okay.
Now, if there is an injury, the player cannot play in the next down. He's done for a play. But the clock does stop, and we wait until the medical team says, yeah, it's safe to get him off the field. You must have seen that as a chain crew guy before, right?
Yeah. Several times.
Yeah, it happens. Football's a collision sport. Players get their wind knocked out of them. They get more severe injuries sometimes. One thing is that it's totally legal for the coach to talk to his team at the sideline.
Okay.
So the teams can go to the sideline, they can substitute, they can get water, and they can get coaching advice about the next play. They can receive information. You know, all that stuff can happen. It is an old school thing that used to be that players couldn't go to the sideline during an injury. And there are still some old school officials that will say, no coaching, no coaching. But there's nowhere in the rule that says you can't coach during a timeout or during an injury.
Is there any rules late in the game, teams out of timeouts, and say a guard, you know, the only rule about an injury will be having to come out of play, but there's no like clock runoff or anything like that all right.
Not in high school.
Okay.
It's a great question. In the NCAA, as you may be aware, there's a big emphasis on faking injuries, trying to abuse the injury rules to try to keep time on the clock. And so a player will just intentionally go down and stuff like that. In high school, there's not much we can do in that case. We don't really have rule support other than what some people call the God rule, which is the rule that the referee, anytime someone is abusing the rules, can take any decision he feels equitable.
Okay.
So in that case, he can't do a runoff, but he can say, for example, he can call an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Okay.
He can tell the team that's offended that they have the right to start the clock on the snap. You know, they can also say that you know, if there's an injury that player has been ejected or the coach is, you know, there's all sorts of reasons why. Or you could give, if they do this to prevent a team from running a play, you could give them an untimed down too. So, you know, but I've never seen it happen. Teams in high school aren't that sophisticated about this.
Okay.
So generally, the rule is pretty simple. Injured player, we stop the clock. The teams go to their sideline. The injury gets dealt with. The player leaves the field, and then everybody takes positions, and the referee blows the whistle and winds the clock again.
Okay.
If the clock was stopped before the injury, it'll still be stopped
All
after
right.
the injury. So, so it can be helpful. Sometimes the clock operator is the only one who remembers what happened with the clock on the last play because there can be a long time out. So, anyone on the crew, including the clock operator, can help us after an injury, whether or not we should start or stop the clock. So if you've got a radio, you can say, "Hey, the clock was stopped before the injury," or remember the last play there was an incomplete pass. Because believe it or not, we forget.
Okay.
So don't worry about being that guy on the crew that is correcting veterans. All right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show a play where we did have a clock correction. So let me get the document and pull it up. So give me 1 second because I just made this folder. What's this? Is this it? Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. All right. Are you able to see the play?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So what we have here is Wyndham against Woodstock. And this is actually a substitution infraction, not a clock malfunction. So if I find that clock play, I'll show it to you. But it's something I can maybe show in another class. But I do want to show this play because it is something that as wing officials we have to be aware of. So I'll start by saying that the dark team here is on offense. And we can see here that it is 1st and 10, or maybe actually that looks like a 4. Can you see the down box?
No, I cannot see that.
It's dark, but I think it might be 4th down.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 4th down because that was a pump play. So why did that player just suddenly sprint off the field?
He realized he's not on punt return.
Or punt? This is the punt team.
Oh, that they snapped it back to him. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he wasn't on punt team and they had too many
Yeah,
men on the field.
too many players. So here's the situation. If we identify this, and the referee should have a count, the umpire should have a count on this play. If we identify this, he was in formation, and this clock should have been stopped, and we should have had a dead ball penalty.
Okay.
But we didn't. We didn't. We didn't pick it up. So he runs off the field. Is he off the field in time?
No.
No. So we have an illegal substitution live ball. Now, do you think the defense is going to accept the penalty or decline?
Decline.
Yes.
First and
So
goal. Yeah.
there's a big difference here between if we killed it before the snap, none of this happens. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's 4th and 15. They get to punt again. If you let the play go, the defense is really happy. Right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, once we failed to notice that they had 12 in formation, and he's running off the field, we have to let him try to get off. And then if he doesn't, it's just a live ball foul. It's a flag. The penalty is from the previous spot, but it is a live ball foul. So then it's
Okay.
what we call a free play. And it's a free play if the defense does it or if the offense does it, if they're trying to get off and they just fail to do so on time. Now, if he had been just the 11th player, I would say he's legally in motion.
Yep.
So it's really important. And then he left the field and stayed off the field. So if they only have 10 right now, we pick the flag up or we don't have a flag at all. So it's really important to count every play. And special teams, more illegal substitutions happen on special teams than any other type of play. Because these players usually only play once every time there's a special teams unit out there. And sometimes they
Okay.
forget to go out there. Sometimes somebody forgets they're not on the team anymore. Maybe they got beat out for the punt team, but they've been on the punt team for the past 6 weeks. And this is the first week they're not on the team anymore.
Right.
Lots of reasons why this can happen, and it just generally happens on special teams. All right, let me show you the another play. And this play, it's really an important play to show you because I only have images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this picture with you. All right, and if you look carefully, can you see? Let me try to move this out of the way. Can you see the situation we're in with the sticks? You see the official here on this stick back here. So
Yep.
how many yards would you say there is to go?
10.
10 yards. Now this is first and 10.
Yep.
Now the lead stick down here is got to be, it looks like here it is the back stick is 2 yards behind this 20-yard line.
Okay.
That means we're starting on the 22. That means that the next stick should be where?
The next stick should be on the 12.
That's right. Now, if you've ever watched a guy named John Boy, John Boy is famous for basically abusing officials. And he called this ref cheats first down. It's a video you can find online, New Jersey officials, because this is what happens. They have a few plays that run, and then we end up with this situation, and I'm going to show you where we're doing the measurement. Okay, so the ball went out of bounds. This is the spot. That mark that referee is standing on is the 12-yard line. Would you say
Okay.
that ball has made the 12-yard line?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now the chain is being pulled to do the measurement. Now I'm going to open the next play, and I'm going to show you what happens when the umpire is actually putting this ball down. Because there's a whole choreography. So the referee is standing there looking at the football, which is clearly on the 12, right?
Yeah.
The chain has been pulled. Is that chain going to go down on the 12?
No, it'll be short of the first down.
They're going to be short. Should they be short?
No.
No. So what must have happened between first down and this measurement?
My first guess would be the chain crew, for whatever reason, picked up and put down, or this guy pulled too hard and it jarred the other one. It got a half yard more.
That's
Uh,
exactly what happened. If you look at the previous play, and unfortunately I don't have the video right here, but the runner went out of bounds on second down on that sideline, and the crew dropped the chains and backed away. And then they had
yep.
to come back and pick the chains back up again. How can we be sure that this situation doesn't happen when we drop the chains and we have to pick them back up again?
Well, I know a lot of line judges use the hard line,
Hmm.
so if it gets to that spot, it's a first down. If once,
Absolutely, very important. Yes. The crew should have known that this was a first down without a measurement.
yeah. Other
What?
than that, Yeah, I don't think they write down a distance. They don't jot that down, I don't believe. So when a first down starts. So
That's a good point. Now have you done varsity chains?
yeah,
Have
4
you
years.
heard have you heard of a chain clip?
Oh yeah, yeah, I forgot about that. Yes. The chain clip on the nearest
Mhm.
long, the
Big line.
that would have been what, the 25-yard line, or
The
no, it would have
20.
been the 20, yeah.
Yep, you got it. You nailed it. So if you drop the sticks, you pick them up, no problem. Just put the clip back on the 20,
Yep.
right? Now there is a trick that I've used in college, and I do it in high school playoff games and whenever I can. I put a piece of tape on the stick and I give the down box guy a Sharpie and I say, write down what down it is and what yard line you're on right now every play. And they basically write on the tape. So on first down, they would have written 122.
Yep.
And on second down, they would have written 218 on the play that went out of bounds, right? So on and so on. And they would have written down all those things. And we could have gone to the tape and said, okay, where were we on first down? Oh, we were on the 22. The ball's on the 12. So we're going to fix the chains before we measure. Does that make
Right.
sense? Because
Yes.
once you measure, it looks real bad. And here's what happened. The referee grabbed the ball and grabbed the chain and physically forced them to touch each other, declared a first down, and walked away. How do you think that looked to everybody watching?
Terrible. Yeah,
Terrible.
the situation should have been explained, where the ball started on the 22, and now
Yes.
the chains were moved when he went out of bounds, and that's a first down, no questions asked.
Yeah, and if we have to measure, which I'm sure the coach wants a measurement, we're going to move the chains. We're going to clearly announce first down was on the 22-yard line. We're resetting the chains to the place it was on first down, and then we will do the measurement.
Yep.
And then you wouldn't have had a problem because the ball would have been beyond the lead stick, and you wouldn't have had this situation. And all of these officials would have still been working football, but they all got fired.
Wow.
All the
The
whole
whole
crew.
the whole crew, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They all had to reapply, do the class again. I don't know what happened, but I know it's a true story. This really happened in a New Jersey high school football game.
Wow.
And you can look it up. John Boyd does not pull punches. He's pretty cruel about it. And the one thing he has right is this is a terrible look. But the referee was not cheating. He actually was correct that they got the first down.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it
he
just,
just went about it in a real lazy way, kind of.
yeah,
And
lazy
that,
is a
that just,
great way to explain it. But I tell you, if you've worked enough football, you've had players go out of bounds and had people drop the chains enough times. When you do youth and JV, generally the officials don't use a clip in those games. So it's real important that you tell yourself, just like you said at the beginning of this conversation, the first down is the 12.
yep.
And then if you get there and you're like, what happened? Oh, the chains moved, right? You know they moved. The other time you want to know where the line to gain is when you change quarters. You want to say, okay, I tell the people on the chain crew, I said, hey, you're on the back stick. Remember, we started on the 22. And I yell down to the lead stick, hey, you're on the 12, right? 12? And then I say, okay, we're all going to the same place, but on the other side, all right? You go first. And I tell the guy in the 12 to go first, pick up where the clip should be, and then I run down. That way I know where the clip is going to go down, where I'm holding the chain, and both guys holding the stakes now know where they need to go.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because everybody knows I'm on the 22 over here. I have to go to the 22 over there. So I like to empower the chain crew to be in charge of that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think it works.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a bad situation for sure. All right, I'm going to show a one more play that is, I think, important for coverage areas. And let me get the screen share back on. I think this time I'm going to move it to the other screen so that my Zoom controls don't block it. This is just me kind of explaining how the sausage is made, if it were. All right. So can you see the play? It says goal line coverage.
Yes.
Okay. So what we have here is it's not a Connecticut game. I don't know where this game took place. But you can see there's snow on the field. We can also see that this is a five-man crew. In the back of the end zone where it says Demons, there's an official back here in the middle. That's the back judge. Down
Okay.
here at the bottom, we have the line judge standing at the 8-yard line. So we know we're at the 8, and there's an umpire on the field. So
Okay.
because the line judge is inside the 10, he should be communicating with his crossfield partner that he's going to go to the goal line on the snap. If you're inside the 10, you have to go right to the goal line on the snap. You have 8 yards to go, so if you see that the runner is down, you come back to that spot. But you're going to
Yep.
work ahead of the runner in this case. You don't want the runner to beat you to the goal line. Because in this case, the umpire, the referee, and the back judge and the umpire, none of them are going to be able to help you. The wing has to get it because they're all out of position. So let's watch this play and see what they do. Okay. Did you see any issues?
Yeah, he stayed at the 2 while the guy was crossing the plane.
Yeah, the guy at the bottom of the screen, we can see his mechanics. He's moving with no urgency. He hesitates. Now, when there's no one on your side of the field, I say you watch this action here
Yep.
and do it from the pylon. Just get there. Just go. There's nothing to stop you because there's nothing happening on your side of the field. So you keep an eye on that action, you get to the sideline, and you get to the pylon. He hesitates, and he's not there. Now, what about the official at the top of the screen? Did he get to the goal line?
I can't see his positioning. I see where you're
Yeah.
circling.
So that means that he didn't.
Okay.
And here he comes now, and he signals touchdown. Now, I noticed the pylon is laying on the ground. So do you think this was close to being out of bounds?
Yes.
It was. So this is what we call a tight touchdown play. You've got to beat this runner to the goal line. I mean, you had time because he's breaking tackles,
Yeah.
right? But if he
Yeah.
stepped on the sideline near the end zone, then the ball was dead before he fell into the end zone. But maybe because he was stretching the ball out, maybe he crossed a plane when he stepped out of bounds. So maybe it was still a touchdown. We'll never know because there weren't any officials on the goal line.
Sure.
So the goal line is the most important line on the field. So just make sure you communicate before plays that involve the goal line, who's responsible for it.
Okay.
Now, in games where there are only 3 officials and 4 officials, there's no back judge to help you. So the wings have goal line all the time. In that case, if it's a long touchdown run, you're not going to beat him to the goal line.
Right.
But if you're inside the 10, just like I said, you move to the goal line right away.
Yep.
And you just make sure you're there first. Basically.
Now the guy that was standing on the 2,
Mm-hmm.
I thought initially that's what this was about. The guy in the middle of the field, almost like he was in a linebacker position. He stayed at the 2 basically throughout
Yes.
all that.
That's
I don't know if that was
correct.
first.
That
I
is
don't know
a
if that
correct
was-
mechanic. The umpire should never go to the goal line. He's got no perspective. He should stay out of the way.
Okay.
So if you ever work the umpire position, don't ever stop on the goal line because someone else will be occluded from view. They won't be able to see through you. And, for example, if the wing on the bottom of the screen had made it to the goal line, he might have seen something through everything all the way down the sideline to know that a knee was down or something. And the
Right.
ball wasn't across. If the umpire is standing on the goal line too, he's going to block it.
Okay.
So the umpire doesn't ever signal touchdown. that player. It's always the back judge or those wing officials.
Oh, okay.
At least you can assume that that's the case.
Now, say that guy in the middle of the field saw a knee down and a touchdown was called.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well,
would would
he
he
can come in.
confer? Or
Yeah, he's going to whistle. He's going to run in and he's going to give the information to the calling official.
okay,
And we're going to call an official's timeout, and the referee's going to need to make an announcement.
okay,
You don't make a new signal in this case because there's already been a touch-on signal. So now the referee has to explain. It's a
all
bad
right,
situation. In this case, you want to take a peek at your partner, and if you had a knee down and you know the ball was short, you should be selling hard. That is short, short, we're short. You're yelling short, 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 and you're holding
yeah,
your hand up and running
yeah,
straight into the field.
okay,
You may have seen it happen once or twice. It shouldn't happen every play, but once in a while, the official on the far side will have information about a knee down,
okay,
and they'll run across and try to get it corrected. And there are many officials who don't appreciate that, think it's an insult. It isn't by
right,
any means. It is not an insult. But it is something that, unfortunately, there are many officials that take exception to people calling them off of a ruling they've made. But I'll tell you, everyone appreciates in the era of video, not being shown by video that they were wrong. If we can get it right on the field, let's get it right.
yep,
All right. So I'm going to talk about this next topic, which I know it says classroom session 3, but these are some stuff we haven't talked about yet. So, can you see my slides or is it still showing the video?
yeah.
Okay.
Scrimmage plays and keys. Yep.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the snap tackle key, reading, run and pass, forward progress, and down and distance. So we've already talked about it a little bit because I've showed you some videos last time. But basically, linemen don't need to be in a three-point stance. A long time ago, they did. But nowadays, of course, we'll see them standing almost upright. So we can see that the defense can get into even a 4-point stance at times. But, linemen can be just on their feet. They don't have to be crouched over. They don't have to be with a hand down. It's up to them. But once you do have a 3-point stance, if you're an interior lineman, that means there's somebody on the line outside of you. Once you put your hand down, if the center has already put his hand on the ball, you can't take your hand back off the ground again, or else it's a false start.
Okay.
So the ends, though, are allowed to pick their hand up as long as it's not abrupt, and then they can move to a new position, they can shift, they can scratch themselves, whatever. But only the interior linemen are restricted with the hand. The snapper, if he has 2 hands on the ball, he's allowed to take 1 hand off. But he always has to have a hand on the ball at all times once he's handled the ball. And finally, linemen cannot be turned sideways. They always have to be shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
So sometimes you'll see a tackle with their waist twisted, but their shoulders are facing forward. So they'll have their waist twisted because they're getting ready to form a pocket. So one leg
Yep.
will be pretty far back, but they'll still have their shoulders facing forward. They cannot be open with their shoulders, though.
Once that hand goes down for a lineman,
Mm-hmm.
a snap can't be made for what, 1 second? Because I know teams like to use the quick
Yes.
snap for first sound.
Mm-hmm.
So no, if they go to the line, into their 3-point stance, the team has to be set for 1 second before a snap, right?
Yeah, going to a 3-point stance is what we call a shift. And you can't
Okay.
snap the ball or go in motion or do anything until 1 second after everyone is set. And that
Okay.
includes this. But I will say in youth games, you'll see big guys that are just not good football players, but they're large. Will sometimes be really slow to get their hand down, and then the defense will run right past them. When those guys do that, I don't call false starts.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just
No
like,
advantage. Right.
no, no. And everybody knows that guy's supposed to be blocking. And the coaches aren't very good at that level. And so they'll tell the kid, you got to get in a 3-point stance, when I honestly think it's better if they just let the kid stand there.
Yeah. I was thinking of like when a team is trying to get an offensive
Yes.
advantage. You've been going off a slow count, and
Yep.
then you got a 3rd and 1, and we're gonna just go first down. So they just go there, go, and they're not even
True.
set for a second. And
Well,
the other
well,
team,
yeah, the other time it happens is when they always go set, down, and then they decide to go in motion on set. And now the kid's running in motion and then they go down. Well, that's an illegal shift.
okay,
But again, what I'll do on the first time, if it's not deceiving anybody, I'll tell the quarterback, hey, quarterback, you can't send him in motion until the linemen are all the way down.
okay,
So I'll warn him the first time, especially in a JV game, in a youth game. In varsity, I mean, we don't like 5-yard penalties like this. It doesn't, because illegal shifts don't kill the play. That's an illegal shift. It's a live ball foul. And
okay,
generally, I'm going to try to prevent it as much as I can, because really, it's an error that's not confusing anybody, but you're totally right on a technical level. You're totally right. But I will tell the quarterback, hey, make sure everybody's set before you send them in motion. So that's my solution to
okay.
that problem. But if you come up to me and say, hey, Mike, they sent him in motion and not everybody was set. I think I showed a play like that last week.
Yeah.
The NFA
Yep.
Stonington play, and the end was still getting in his stance, and then the guy went in motion. I flagged it.
Okay.
And that's because that guy was just kind of lazy getting to his position. That's when we get those illegal shifts. But the quarterback should have noticed that the end wasn't set yet before he sent the guy in motion. So, I think that's on them. All right. Now, I did mention the snapper earlier. The snapper is allowed to hold the ball in any position basically he wants. It used to be a long time ago that they always had to hold it in that spiral position that's on the left side. Now
Yeah.
they're allowed to hold the very tip of the ball. It's called a dead ball snap. That's actually the most common shotgun snap, is the
Okay.
dead ball position. So basically, when they snap it back, the ball's like a knuckleball. It doesn't rotate, and it's easier for the quarterback to grab. So they'll do that. But if you read in the rule book, the ball has to be parallel or to the sideline and blah, blah, blah. The dead ball position is parallel enough. We allow that.
Okay.
And then pendulum is where it's kind of at a 45-degree angle. And that's just the preference of the snapper. They're allowed to do any of those things. When they break the huddle and they go up to the snap, the offense is being counted, the defense is being counted. They're allowed to adjust the football, but they cannot flip it end for end. So they can't take the front of the ball and make it the back now.
Right. Right.
They can't move the ball forward significantly or backward significantly. And once they've got hands on the ball, they can't lift both hands off the ball.
Okay.
So that's an important thing. You would have a false start if they did.
All right. So it'd be a false start. It wouldn't be. I remember back in the day, a center takes his hand off the ball because he zoned out, and the nose guard jumps on it, and the defense is, oh, we got it, But
No.
that's just the penalty, right?
Yeah, it's just a false start. And the
All right.
the thing is the ball's not live until it's legally snapped. So taking his hands off the ball is not a legal snap, so therefore they jumped on a dead ball.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're
What
not
what
allowed
con-
as a
what
defense,
constitutes
you're not allowed to swipe at the ball during the snap.
what constitute a full snap? Just the
An,
arm motion, not the
an,
receiving of it.
An illegal snap, yeah, is the type of snap that's delivered. So it's a legal snap if it's directly backward with a smooth single motion. So you're not lifting it and then putting it back. You're not pushing it forward and then back. You're going straight back. We
Okay.
see illegal snaps when they fail to release it. So if they snap back and they think it's supposed to be a hand-to-hand snap, the quarterback's not even there. So maybe the quarterback dropped in the shotgun, the center thought it was a hand-to-hand snap, and he snaps back, doesn't feel the quarterback, so he's like, "What?" And he just holds the ball. That's an illegal snap.
So that's
It's just an
that's
illegal
a
snap. It's a dead ball.
dead ball. Okay.
Dead ball because the ball was never legally snapped.
All right.
There's also a guard around play where the center will snap the ball and the quarterback will pretend to take it, but then the guard will take it instead and run around the end. That's a foul for an illegal snap
Okay.
because basically he's got to snap it directly back to a back. He can't snap it to another lineman.
Right.
Um,
All right.
and and if basically if that ball slips out of his hand as he's moving it backward, you have to, in your judgment, determine whether it's a legal or illegal snap. If he had a solid grip at it and it just slips out of his hand as he's coming backward, it's a legal snap, but it's a bad snap. You know what I
That's a
mean?
fault.
In that case,
That's a
it's
loose
blocked.
ball. Yeah, like on a rainy day, it
Hmm.
just so that's a loose ball. All right.
It's just a loose ball, exactly. The play started and it's a loose ball.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. The other illegal snap is on punts, for example, when they go forward and then like they try to shoot it really far, so they kind of wind up. And
Yep.
then on the extra point, when they do the swinging gate play. So if it's a swinging gate play and the snapper wants to throw it kind of sideways, have you ever seen that before on extra
Yes.
point? Yeah, he's got to throw it straight sideways. He can't lift it up in his hand and then throw it. He's got to literally from the ground pull it straight in one smooth motion from the ground. He can't pick it up off the ground and then throw it.
So in that swinging gate play, that snapper's shoulder pads do not have to be.
No, they do. They've got
They
to be
still have to.
parallel. They got to be parallel. He can't be turned sideways.
Okay. So
They got to be
he's
at
gonna have.
least they got to be at least 45 degrees towards parallel. He can't be completely turned sideways.
Okay.
He's got to be facing down the field. Generally, the way that they do that that fake snap is they'll drop a foot so that they can turn their waist as they throw it. But they've got to
Okay.
do it smoothly in one motion. So basically, the ball has to start moving before they turn their hips. If they
Okay.
turn their hips before they start moving the ball, it's a false start.
All right.
So the ball has to start moving and then they could turn their body. It's an incredibly difficult thing to pull off legally. I
Yeah, I see their helmets are kind of looking at where they're going to snap it, so they're not necessarily facing.
True,
Uh,
true. As long as it's their shoulders are what matter. Their
okay.
head can be turned. But what
All
they
right.
can't do is turn their head, turn their hips, and then move the ball.
Okay.
Their head has to already be turned. They have to be set with the head turned for 1 second, and then they can move the ball, or they've got to turn their head and their hips as they begin moving the ball. I think of it like the pitcher that's checking second base, and he's going to deliver a pitch to the plate, and he's looking at second base, and he starts his motion, and he throws home
Right. Right.
like while he's not even looking at the catcher, right?
Okay.
You almost have to do it that way. You have to not really be looking at where you're throwing it to do the swinging gate legally.
All right.
You know, Plainfield does it pretty well. Woodstock Academy does it pretty well, but they've also been flagged for it, so they
Yeah.
know to practice to make it consistent. It's not easy.
No.
Yeah. So let's take a look at yeah, reading runner pass. So I'm going to show a play. Let's see where it shows up. Are you seeing the play?
Yeah.
Okay. So we get a pass play, we get a flag. Oh, that's me. Okay. So what I want to look at first, I'm going to sit down so I can, because I've got the play up on my screen behind me. So we're going to see here that Killingly here is in a kind of a pro set. They've got an I formation. They've got a tight end on the top of the screen, and then they've got a split flanker. So I'm working the wing up here, and there's a punch back because the widest receiver is back.
You guys off the line, all right.
Yep. And then down at the bottom of the screen, this guy must be on the line because otherwise they would have more than four in the backfield.
Yep.
And you're going to watch the snap first. So you watch the snap and then you immediately shift to the tackle that's on your side.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take a look at this and I'm gonna pause it. Okay. So at this moment, because none of the receivers are really threatened at first, we're reading the play by looking at the blockers.
Yep.
And I see here that this is a pass read. So I have to change my vision now and make sure I see receivers in my area. Okay. So now at this point, the ball's in the air. I don't care about linemen. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I don't care about anyone but the people looking at the ball. So I am going to not watch the ball. The ball is irrelevant. It's up here, but I don't care about it. I care about who's looking back at the ball. And if you look here, you can see that this receiver is clearly the intended receiver.
Yep.
So we're going to watch the action right now, and we're going to stay on him and stay on his defender. So now, did the defender look back at the football?
Yes.
You would say
I,
he did. So let's
well,
watch
I
number 6 again.
right where you stopped it, it looked like he was making an attempt. I mean, he was leading into the receiver.
Yeah, he did.
He, but it looked like his helmet was looking for the ball for a second.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you think he looked back for the ball before or after he ran into the receiver?
oh, he definitely put a shoulder into him first. He knew he was burnt. He took him off his route.
And that's the thing. When you're beat, you cheat.
Yep.
So if you are picking up, you should be already on this matchup pretty much as soon as you read pass. By this point, you should be laser focused on this matchup. Now, you don't really need to be moving much. So you can see I'm not running down the field. I am holding my position, keeping my eyes steady, and I'm watching the action.
Yeah, that's the interference right there, basically.
Right there. He is not looking back for the ball. He's got his arms out in front of him, and he's trying to catch up by grabbing onto or leaning on the receiver, and the receiver goes down.
Yep.
Now, this is not playing the ball, and it's contact. That is a foul for defensive pass interference. So in this case, what you can see here is that I'm not on the screen, but I got my flag down in the general area. I try not to hit players. All right. And I'm coming in now. I don't need to hold a spot because what was the result of the play?
I believe in high school it's either 15 or 10.
Well,
It's not.
it's you're talking about the enforcement. What actually
Oh,
happened with the ball? Did he catch it?
oh, it's incomplete. Right.
Incomplete. Right. So I'm signaling the classic stop the clock signal because we have a foul.
Okay.
So now you see me turning at the end of the play. I'm turning because I'm giving my whistle, tweet, 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 and I'm running in to go tell the referee what I had. So at this point, I'm already beginning to head in. This guy's asking me a question right now. I
Yep.
don't mind answering a question. And in this case, I would just tell him what happened. I said, you ran into the receiver, you didn't turn back for the ball. Or you turned back
Right.
after you hit him.
Yeah.
That's as simple as it is. The crazy thing about this play is Killingly was actually tied with Stonington at this point. It was 21-21, second quarter.
Last year.
And yeah. And
Wow.
Stonington had won had tied the game with smoke and mirrors. They had a couple turnovers, they'd had some good plays. And after this play on third down and long, the floodgates blew open and Killingly ran away with the game. But
Oh.
let's just say Stonington's coach was not happy about this foul because Killingly would have had to punt if there was no penalty here because it just would have been incomplete on third down. We would have had fourth and long and Killingly punts. Right? And who knows? Maybe they would have gone to halftime tied. And I can tell you the back judge did not like my flag because from his angle, he couldn't see contact. But I think if you look at the video, you can clearly see he looks back after he made contact. It's a classic example of where the wing official has a better look at the play than maybe the back judge does.
And the camera. I mean,
The camera's not perfect. You're right.
Yeah, the camera from that angle, it looked like contact, but 100%, it looked like he took him off his route but from your angle, you should have definitely seen if there was contact made while that ball was in the air.
Yep. And now, had I been sprinting down the field, let's say I'm already here at this point, I may not be able to see the space between the players. And one thing you need to see for interference is the space between the defender and the receiver. You've got to see that space because that's where you're going to see a push off, and that's when you're going to see a hold or a restriction. So by holding my position near the line of scrimmage, I actually had a better look straight down the field between the two players.
If
So
if the defender turned his left shoulder in instead of his right shoulder in, he might have got away with a little better. Made a true attempt to.
yeah.
I'm going to pick this ball off.
Honestly, I think he would have picked it off. If he had turned and actually played the ball 5 steps earlier, he would have intercepted it.
Okay.
You see how close the ball landed to him?
Yeah.
The defender should have picked it off. Totally.
Yeah.
But he wasn't playing the football at all. He was playing the receiver. So at the end of the day, you got both players have a right to the football. So if I had seen the receiver grab hold of the defender and pull him backwards or something like that, we might have been talking about something different. I want to look at the next play now.
I think some people in the crowd have their own opinions about that last call. But on to the next play. Quick out route there. And a flag comes out again.
All right, so again, this is me again.
I think some people in the crowd have their own opinions about that.
So would you say on this play with this pass going only 5 yards down the field?
But on to the next play.
Should the wing official be moving from the line of scrimmage on this play?
No.
No, he should definitely hold. Now, here's the problem with this play. This is a quick pass. Very quick. So you don't necessarily have a good chance to look at it.
Last call.
But right here, I'm reading pass. So I read pass. They're getting into pass positioning. It's a double team right here. You don't need to watch these blockers at all. You just use them to determine what kind of play it is. Now I find somebody who's threatened, and I can see that this linebacker is sizing up this receiver.
Yep.
But on to the next play.
Okay. So in my opinion, live, the linebacker grabbed the receiver's shoulder and prevented him from turning. Watching the play on video, it was a bad call. I don't think there's any significant restriction on this play.
But on to the next play. Quick out route there.
I'll show it again.
But on to the next play.
And actually, I don't see any grasp by the defender. I see him put hands on him, but the receiver seems to expect it.
Right.
And it's just an overthrown ball. So in this case, because I was late to the play and maybe I didn't see the whole thing, I should have left it alone. You know,
They
you
have
wanna- go on, sorry.
I'm not sure where the ball was snapped, but where the linebacker never moved, he was maybe less than 5 yards off the ball,
But on to
and
the
he
next-
probably thought he was in
Yeah.
he could hit a receiver up till a couple yards past the line
Right.
of scrimmage, right?
Because he might be a
Before the-
potential blocker. Right.
Yeah, before
What he
the
can't-
ball's in there.
Once the receiver clearly is running a pass route, he can't hit him.
Okay.
He has to be still a potential blocker. Generally, the general rule is once he's achieved the same line of yard line as the defender has to assume he's not going to block him anymore and he can't grab him or push him. And in this case, it's exactly like you said. He's just getting his hands out there almost defensively and just touching the receiver. And then the receiver goes into his route and he lets him go.
So what'd you flag? Pass interference?
No, it shouldn't have been. It was an incorrect flag.
Right, I know. That's what you that's what you called, though, right?
Yeah, I called pass
I
interference
was. All right.
and it was incorrect. And I called pass interference because I thought the ball was already in the air when the receiver turned. And I thought his turn was restricted and he lost a step because of the defender grabbing him, but there was no grab here. You've got to love your flag. You
Yeah.
need to make it be there. You've got to make it big. That's one of the reasons why my shirt has MIBT on it. I'm a member of an organization called makeitbethere.org.
Okay.
We do meetings, like national meetings, every Sunday night. Check it out. We have a YouTube channel. I'm one of the
Okay.
panelists. But yeah, I gotta love my flag. And I don't really have an excuse on this play, except that my eyes got to it late. I didn't see the whole action. I imagine there was a restriction when I didn't actually see one. All right, let's look at the next play.
To shake it up, Conlon. That's a big play from the Jesuits defense. As now looking for the end zone again, and that ball's brought in. They're gonna say he kept it. They're gonna say he held on. Tamarion La Fortune.
Okay, let's see if do I have a replay? I think I do, right here. Okay, let's see a replay of this.
See a replay of this touchdown. You can see the baby powder in the air. La Fortune taking it in. And I mean, variance, yeah. They call it a.
All right, let's play it again. So what we're talking about now is one of the definitions in the rule book that I gave you about what is a catch.
Right.
Conlon definitely was not shaken up after that play. Here we're going to
Yeah,
see
I
a
don't know if
replay.
the defender had
of this
part of his
touchdown.
body out,
You
though.
can see the baby powder in the air. La Fortune taking it in.
He definitely had possession in one foot. But
What defines possession? So would you say that at this point, this receiver is upright, or is he going to the ground? Number one, do you think he's in any position to basically land on his feet?
I mean, he's going to go to the ground, but
He's going to go to the ground. So I don't care how tight a grasp you have on the ball. If you are in the process of making the catch and you're also going to the ground, you have to survive the ground.
okay.
Have to. Does he survive the ground? So maybe he's got full control here. I've got a back judge looking, but is he going to the ground? Absolutely, he's going to the ground.
Yep.
Now he's hitting the ground. Now he's rolling over. Does he have possession? He doesn't have it. The ball's already out. So
Who's
what I
got it? The
get,
defender?
the defender has it. Yeah.
Okay.
So now these lines are terrible, by the way. This field was declared illegal after the fact. This is a playoff game. Fairfield Prep plays their high school football games on this field with gray lines. So we can't see what's going on here, but that I can tell you that that defender is still in bounds. So we might actually have an interception here. So
Wow.
I'll just tell you that the catch rules, we've taken this catch rule and we've broken it down in so many ways, but the high school catch rule isn't really that clear on surviving the ground, but it's not instantly a catch right now. Our interpretation of the rule is if you're heading to the ground in the process of making the catch, you'd better be able to hand me the ball when you hit the ground. If you're losing it because the guy's ripping it out of your hands as you're hitting the ground and you don't maintain possession, no catch. And I will say that the back judge here, I will say he probably should have.
Fortune taking it in.
He probably should have not been walking. He probably should have just held his position. And had he held his position and just stayed frozen over here and just watched the whole play by moving his head instead of walking up, he might have been able to see it long enough to recognize that the receiver didn't survive the ground.
Frame by frame, I could see, you know, they said, he had possession with 1 foot in,
Yeah,
but
I'd
it's
say
definitely
right
not
here.
an interception because he's out of bounds. The defender didn't have possession until he was clearly out of bounds. But
Well, no, I'm telling you, he was not out of bounds. The black is out of bounds.
oh shoot,
All of this green is in bounds.
oh,
The lines were really bad. They're really bad
oh, that
lines.
threw me way off there. Okay,
Yeah, this line over here is like a lacrosse line.
oh,
Nothing to do. We had to use black lines for the end lines, and we had to use gray lines for all the sidelines. So you can
oh,
see
that's
that the
awful.
back judge is on the end line right now.
Okay, yeah, there's the goalpost. All right.
Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so I think you're right that he has a pretty good vision of it here, but why is he moving? The action is still happening, and he's literally walking. So I think that's probably what caused us to miss this. Just let the play finish.
Yep.
There's no reason to adjust your position while the play is still going on. You might see that the defender ripped it. A touchdown is not instantaneous as soon as he touches the ground with 2 hands on the ball. He has to have possession first.
Okay.
So that's why this should have been ruled at the very least an incomplete pass, but I think probably an interception.
Yeah, it never hit the ground, so it definitely wasn't incomplete. I just thought the other guy was out of bounds.
Yeah, but since
But
Black is out of bounds, he's not.
I didn't know about that going to the ground rule.
Yeah,
I
it's not
thought,
it's not explicitly written in the rule book, but
yep.
it is the Connecticut high school interpretation.
Okay.
And it is copied from the NCAA and NFL codes because the high school rule book really does a poor job of defining what is a catch.
Because it seems like there's certain plays
Mm-hmm.
that one millisecond of possession in the end zone
Yeah.
is a touch. If it's a running play and
Well,
the
definitely
guy,
if it's a running play, he can lose possession right as he crosses the goal line and it's still a touchdown
right,
because he had possession.
So that is a tough rule, especially when it happens in the end zone. Then,
Well, the thing is, if this had happened at the 50-yard line, would you say it's definitely an interception?
well, I guess my problem is, all right, the ball never hit the ground, but a runner is down, whether it's contact or not. When he's down, the play's over.
All right, so here's the problem with that argument. he doesn't become a runner until he has possession. And possession is not the instant he touches the ground, it's when he survives the ground.
Okay.
So
if that, yeah.
until he survives the ground, he never became a runner. The ball was still what we call loose. So throughout the process of the catch, the ball is loose. It doesn't become in possession until he survives the ground or makes a football move, stretches the ball. Like, say he's falling down, but he turns and reaches for the pylon. We determine that that's enough control to determine he has possession, right? He reaches for a first down. He tries to hold it inside the pylon. Any redirection of the ball while, as he's catching the ball, then survive the ground kind of goes away. But in this case, he's not trying to do any of those things.
Right.
He's just trying to control it, and he never fully does.
Yeah, if he did, it wouldn't have got ripped out, right?
That's right. Now,
Yeah.
if they both were fighting for it at this point and neither one wins, it's a touchdown.
Yep.
Because when the offense and defense both have joint possession, it belongs to the offense.
Okay.
So it wouldn't have been a problem if he just, like in the old days, he'd say, you got to go to the weight room.
Yeah.
Don't lose that wrestling match and you won't have to argue. But we did bail him out here. We gave him a touchdown.
He was clearly the first person
To
in
touch it.
possession of it. And
True.
almost,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'm gonna just take the word in possession and replace it with control. So he was
Yeah.
the first person to control the ball, or maybe the first person to grab it. But possession is a heavy word in football.
Yeah, you got to finish it.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I'm going to argue that neither player was in full possession until that defender rolled off. So I would say that the receiver initially controlled the pass, but never survived the ground. So the receiver never gained possession. And I can tell you this play was sent to the state, and they did determine it was an incorrect call.
Should have been an interception ball at the 20.
It should have been a touchback. Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, wow.
Now, granted, this was not a close game. This was a blowout. The red team here got beaten by 50 points or something. It wasn't a game that made the difference in who won.
All right, well, that's good.
But hopefully we can use this play to learn.
Yeah, the red team was one of the better teams in the state, right?
Fairfield Prep? Yeah, they're real good. But they lost bad.
Oh, okay. Wow.
They lost bad. That team in white managed to win the game, even though the red team and the white team played on Thanksgiving Day. And in that game, the red team won by a lot.
Oh.
But then they meet again in the playoffs 2 weeks later, and it completely flipped the script.
Wow.
All right, we're going to watch this next play. This is a big game between Massac and Windsor. Neither of these teams are in our area, but we were working this game because it was a playoff game. So we can see the situation. It's 3:04 to go in the second quarter. It is 3rd down and 3. And the team in white is Massac, and they are up by 7. So let's watch the play.
Setback. And they're going to throw long. And it's caught! Did he get a foot in?
Out of bounds, but what a catch.
What a catch by Shane Walker. He actually leaped over the defender to get it, but he was out of bounds. What a catch by Walker.
What a
Okay, so
clean
that's the
throw
first
that
look.
was.
Oh, what?
Did you understand the signal of the official?
I heard what the announcers called that he stepped out of bounds.
Ready? Whoop.
So did you see the signal? So he signaled, and I'll go back to the initial signal. He did certain arm movements. So just watch the arm movement. He blows the whistle.
And it's caught! Did he get a foot in?
Out of bounds, but what a catch.
What
Did
a
you see that signal?
Yeah.
So that is the incomplete And it's not because he didn't control it, it's because he first touched out of bounds. So I'm going to ask you on the replay. Okay, he's here. Would you say both players are looking back for the ball?
Yep.
Yeah. So both players have a right to play the ball. So let me go back and play it again. Do you see anything the receiver does here that maybe isn't okay?
Watch this. Watch him jump. What, ready? Whoop.
I don't. When I watched
Clean
this play the
throw
first
to
time,
the
I'm like,
Watch
didn't
this.
push off.
Watch him jump. What, ready? Whoop.
I would say no.
Yeah, he didn't use him to elevate himself. He just jumped at the right time. The other guy mistimed
Oh,
it.
watch this.
Right.
Watch him jump.
There
What,
was a little
ready? Whoop.
contact, but
Yeah, but he's
Ooh.
totally
Not
looking
too
back
sure
at
he
the
was,
ball.
didn't
He
get a foot
doesn't,
in
he
bounds.
plays the ball.
Wow.
So that contact
What a
is what we
clean
call
throw.
incidental.
Watch him jump. What, ready?
I don't-
Whoop.
I didn't see the step where he landed out either.
Well,
That guy's
is
right on it.
This is the first step. And would you say that this is the first step right here? Would you say that foot is very close to the sideline?
It's very close. Yeah, he's right there looking at it. So
Right. And would you also say that he's not the only one that might see this?
everyone down the sidelines.
Yes. So there is another wing official. This is a 7-man crew. This is
Okay.
the deep wing. We have a short wing. If you're working a play like this, you're going to want to step up to the sideline so that you can look right down the line
Yep.
and hold still and look straight down the line. If you're looking straight down the line, we don't have the camera evidence here. I
Right.
can't tell from this angle whether this official's right or wrong. I mean, this is too tight. I mean, that's tight. Right?
And he called incomplete, not down at the 9, right?
No, he called incomplete because the receiver first touched out of bounds. Now, this second step is clearly out.
Okay.
Clearly out. I can see the left foot has stepped on the sideline. The first, it's close. It's very close. All right. Now, they're going to go to timeout. And they're going to come back after commercial. And they're going to show this look.
And 10. Windsor from the oh, watch this. Now watch it here. Ben is all right. Look at this.
Right there, boom, down.
In fact,
The second one is close.
Close, but the first one was
What do you think now?
First and goal at the 9.
Yes. Now, who can help on this? The other wing official. You're going to see, if you're standing on the sideline looking straight down the field, you will see this clear as day that there is green grass between his foot and the sideline. And you're going to run down to your fellow official and say, hey, did he have control? Because if he's juggling the ball, it doesn't matter whether his first foot was. It only matters where his feet were when he finally gained control. Can you see that the ball is not in his hands?
I can see that it is in his hands, I think.
His hands are here. The ball's down here.
The ball is where?
The ball's down between his forearms.
Oh, yeah, there. I was looking at his gloves.
that?
All right.
So it hits his chest. Hits his chest. It doesn't hit his hands. Hits his chest.
Okay. Oh,
The
shoot. Good
foot's in
call there.
bounds. Now the ball bounces off his chest. And now he's got control. So he argued that he juggled it at first
Okay.
because it bounced off his chest. But at this point, his left foot still hasn't gone down yet. So again, I would argue that his position probably too close.
Yeah, you can't see the whole body. He's looking at the possession. You can't see the feet.
That's right.
Yeah.
So your position from the line judge perspective is, I mean, you can't see the ball from where you are. So you pick up what you can, and you're going to say, boy, that right foot was clearly in bounds. Right?
Yeah.
And that when he,
Right there, boom, down.
in fact
The second one is close.
but if you look at the hand, do you see that there's a readjustment by the hand after he brings it in?
this
Right there, boom, down.
in fact
The second one.
So we can't really see what's going on with his hands. I think he controlled it. The right foot's
Yeah.
definitely in, but this is where, as a short wing, you can run down there and say, yeah, that right foot was in. Did you have him juggling? Was he juggling? If that deep wing says you had that foot in, no, he got it. He grabbed it. He had firm control. Then you're going to overturn this to a catch. So you can work together. You can't
Okay.
use replay, but the short wing probably has the best look because he's further away. And like you pointed out, you can see the whole receiver, you can see the whole body, you can see the whole sideline.
Yeah.
So again, nothing against this official. He's an excellent official. I just think he got caught. And it's hard not to get caught on a fly route like this, where if we look at the replay,
From the what's
we can see he's clearly back far enough right now. And he's looking in the direction of the receivers, right?
Yep.
so watch it here.
See, he's focused on the receivers. He's looking right at them. He's not looking up at the football. He's looking at the receivers, right? That's great.
Yep.
I would just say we're at the 10-yard line here. He should have probably been on the goal line,
Okay.
but he had to stop moving because once the play is about to be made, you got to stop.
Ben is all right. Look at this.
Because he has to know that that wasn't a push off. And if he was like halfway looking over his shoulder, he maybe wouldn't have been able to rule on why that defender fell down. So you got to freeze, but it would have been nice if he had just had more distance, but I'm not sure if he could have. Because if we go back to the original play, let me put the original play up.
It's like at the 30th or something like that.
Yeah, so
A setback. A setback.
we're
It's
actually
at
at
the
the
40.
40. So
Yeah. Wow.
so that official started at about the 20-yard line.
All right.
And he ended up at the 5. So he moved a good 15 yards during the play.
Yep.
Yeah, you just need to be prepared if they're throwing deep like this, which you're never going to see in a youth game, you're never going to see in a JV game. They're not going to be able to complete a pass like this. But if you ever do work this deep position, make sure you keep space. Keep your spacing. But yeah, I don't, like I said, I'm not going to say right or wrong.
That was
just-
probably a crucial play too, because
Oh,
know.
third down.
Windsor came back to win that game too, right? I would have put them up 2 scores if they had the first and goal, probably.
I think they did come back to win this game, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
But you know what? We have to make the best
Shake it
call
up,
we can.
Conlon. That's a big play from the Jesuits defense. As now,
Oh, I think we
looking
saw this already. This is the play we already saw. Yeah, I'll show this next play here. So this is a big play. 327 megabytes, so that should be a good play.
huge speech at halftime, primetime type speech, and be able to come out and explode. West Haven's looking to have different plans for that, though. It's Manning dropping back. Receivers going deep, has to throw it away, and that will do it. As a flag comes in.
Okay. So what I'm going to talk to you right now about is eligible receivers in the area.
Okay.
Why would that be a factor on this play? Why would you need to worry about whether there are eligible receivers in the area of the pass?
Intentional grounding.
That's right. Intentional grounding. So
Huge speech at halftime, primetime type speech, and be able to come out and explode. West Haven's looking to have different plans for that, though.
it's an empty backfield. There is an eligible receiver right here. This guy.
Okay.
No, actually, no. That's a lineman. I forgot because there's another guy down here. So there are 5 receivers going out. So this guy must be a lineman. So there are no eligible receivers in the middle of the field.
It's Manning dropping back.
Okay, so you can see here that it's 4th down. What you maybe don't know is that there's almost no time left on the clock in the half. And this official is responsible for the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
So on a pass play, you hold the line primarily because you don't want to be moving when the play is happening, but also because if the quarterback runs forward and crosses the line and then throws it, you have to rule. If any of the linemen are illegally downfield when the pass is thrown, you have to rule on that. But you also have to know, did this ball reach the line of scrimmage?
Receivers going deep, has to throw.
Where did this ball hit the ground? See if you can pick out where it bounced.
Huge speech at halftime.
Did it bounce on the
Primetime
big
type
line on the
speech and be able to
40,
come out and
or
answer.
did it make it
West
to the
Haven's looking to have
42?
different plans for that, though. It's Manning dropping back. Receivers going deep, has to throw.
It's close.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that close. It looked like it bounced before the 10 and they snapped it at like the 12, right?
Yeah, I think it hit like right at the line of scrimmage. So I would rule
Okay.
that the pass crossed the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
That's not the whole decision right here. But you've heard of intentional grounding,
Yes.
right? So for the line of scrimmage to be a factor, the quarterback has to roll and get outside the tackle box. What happened on this play is the quarterback, we can't see it on camera, but he dropped straight back.
Yeah,
He
just
never went
backpedaled.
outside the quarterback.
Right.
So that means whether or not he threw to the line of scrimmage is irrelevant. But still, as an official, you'll say the ball made it to the line. And the
Okay.
referee will say, was there anyone in the area? And in this case, I would say no. The ball
No,
hit
that-
here. Is there any eligible receiver anywhere near there?
No.
No. So
It
what
al-
you're- the referee
It
has to throw
almost looked to me like a receiver ran a bad route. It was supposed to be a screen, but because they didn't block at all.
No, they failed to block completely.
It's good.
Like,
West Haven's looking to have
but
different
there's-
plans for that, though. It's Manning
This
dropping
thing just
back.
got beat
Receivers
under the
going
quarter.
deep, has to throw it away.
Yeah,
no, they
no,
had. Yeah, they were two guys on that one guy. Never mind. That was,
it was a missed assignment on the
Yeah.
lineman. And whether somebody ran a bad route is not a factor in intentional grounding.
okay. Yeah, he definitely threw it to avoid the.
Yeah.
He did it early. It wasn't like it wasn't
Well,
super obvious. But,
he had tremendous pressure right away. He'd been sacked
Yeah.
4 or 5 times
For that,
already.
though. It's Manning dropping back.
They're getting him right now. They're getting
yeah, there was. Yeah, it was going to be a safety if he didn't get rid of it, but he did get rid of it before the end zone.
Well, no, it's not this. This is actually, they snapped it from the 42-yard line, not the 12.
Oh, that was that screwed up field.
Yeah, this is the 40. Yeah, this
Okay.
is screwed up field. This
All
is
right,
the,
yeah, I thought that was a pylon right there.
yeah, no, this
Because
is the 40.
I saw the weird stripes.
Yeah. They
where he
are
got
really
tackled.
light, right?
Yeah.
So the quarterback threw it from right around the 30,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and it landed right around the 42, but there was no one in the area. So we're going to have a foul, and teams are leaving the field. So why do you think they're leaving the field?
Halftime. I heard that the first time they ran it through. That was the last play of the half.
Oh, they will call it intentional grounding.
So it's intentional grounding. So when we have intentional grounding, the penalty is 5 yards from the spot of the foul, which is where the quarterback was when he threw it,
Yep.
and a loss of down. Now this was 4th down. So that means if there was time left on the clock, it would be 1st and 10 for the defense, 5 yards back from where the quarterback threw it,
Okay.
which is pretty heavy. I mean, the quarterback, the referee is standing right here at the 27-yard line or so. And they're going to need to go back to like the 22. But the quarter ended. Second quarter's over. So here's what I want to tell you to teach you about. We're going to make a mistake on this play, but I want to make sure you know. At the end of a period, if there's a penalty accepted and the clock has already expired, then we give an untimed down,
Okay.
meaning that the clock isn't going to run. We're going to run a play, and basically If there's another penalty, then the penalty is accepted again, it'll be another untimed down. But there are exceptions. Any penalty that carries a loss of down provision, you would not extend the period.
Okay.
And so that includes intentional grounding, illegal forward pass, and illegal touching. There's only a few examples of loss of down fouls. So if you have a loss of down foul, like this one, then whether they accept the penalty or decline the penalty, the half is over. We don't extend the period.
So there'll never be a penalty which results in a change of possession and one team running one play
Yes.
that wasn't on the offense.
It really can't happen, no. Because every penalty that would have an untimed down would always replay the down.
Yeah. All right.
Now, when it could happen that the defense might get the ball is, let's say the defense intercepts the pass. They're running the ball back for a touchdown and they get face masked before they get into the end zone and tackled.
Okay.
In that situation, the defense would get an untimed down.
Okay.
They'd get a play because it was after the turnover. It's first down and goal with half the distance, and then they get a free play. That would be basically possession had to have changed during the down.
Okay.
To flip it. But in this case, that didn't happen.
As long as that penalty wasn't the intentional grounding.
Right.
I guess
so let's say
that
let's say that while the team was running towards the end zone, he realized he wasn't going to make it, so he threw the ball into the end zone. That's an illegal forward pass.
Okay.
And it carries a loss of down. So they don't get to extend the period.
Okay.
The play would just be over. But if he threw it forward and has his face mask pulled, well, now they're offsetting penalties. So then what happens is the defense wants to keep the ball, but the offense gets to say, nope, we're going to offset those penalties, in which case you replay the whole down.
Okay.
And the offense would get the ball back for an untimed down. So it's almost impossible for the defense to commit a loss of down foul and then get the ball for a free play.
Right. An interception, if one of those defensive linemen picked off intentional grounding, I suppose, and got tackled at the 2 on the return.
Oh, well then if you accepted the penalty, that the interception gets wiped away.
Okay. Yeah.
Because intentional grounding is enforced from the spot of the pass.
Gotcha.
It wouldn't be added to the end of the return.
Yeah. So quarter's over. Yep.
Yeah. The quarter's over. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Or they could decline the intentional grounding, but the quarter would still be over.
Right.
All right. Let's show a totally different play.
3rd and 13 for Wagner.
Beg your pardon. It's 3rd for 25. 2 5-yarders and the 15.
Katie will throw it away. Another flag.
It's going to be intentional grounding. Katie was in the pocket.
Okay. So this is a college game, but the rules are the same.
By the refs there.
And I wanted to show you this because it shows you how we handle this.
Last couple of plays, the Robert Morris defense really picking it up. Katie with a lot of time prior to that.
Oh, wait a minute. The ump says the indication was holding.
So we have 2 fouls. We've got holding by the offense, but then this head linesman runs in all the way to me to tell me that, hey, there was no one in the area, but the ball did get past the line of scrimmage. I just wanted you to know. So he doesn't let the referee move. He freezes the referee where he is because the referee's position is where we're going to enforce the penalty from. The referee is who knows where the pass was thrown, but the referee doesn't watch the pass. So on this play, we don't see him because he's off the screen.
Katie will throw it away.
But we can see that the ball is thrown away. And I'm going to tell you that the referee doesn't know where the ball went. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He doesn't have any idea where the ball went to. all he knows is that the quarterback was under pressure. He threw it away, and he's looking to see if there was a holding or if there was a personal foul on the quarterback or anything like that. He's not watching. So you need someone else on the crew, the wing official, has to help on this intentional grounding call. So he's going to run in. He's going to tell me, hey, Mike, there was no one in the area. And I'm going to say, ooh, I'm going to play at my head. Yeah, he was under pressure. He was in the pocket. So what's going to happen is
So I beg your pardon.
that holding on the
I
offense
saw the ref throw the
declined,
flag
and then
right where Katie unleashed that ball.
And
so what am I doing here?
last couple of plays, the
Let me
Robert
watch the
Morris
signal
defense
again.
really picking it up. Katie with a lot of time prior to that.
Oh, wait a minute. The ump says the indication was holding.
So let's get out of the way. Okay.
So I
Holding
beg your pardon.
on the offense, the
I
penalties
saw the ref
declined.
throw the flag right.
So we didn't throw the foul for intentional grounding. So
Okay.
what that means is that we decline the penalty to go to fourth down because the defense doesn't want holding. They want to punt, they want them to punt. But we didn't have intentional grounding because even though the wing came into me to tell me, hey, Mike, no one was in the area, I said, well, my quarterback was outside the pocket. So did the ball make the line of scrimmage? Yes. So there's no intentional grounding.
And that rule is the same as high school. If you get out of
Yep.
the pocket and throw the ball
Yep.
back to the line of scrimmage,
Yep.
and that line of scrimmage extends
Yes,
beyond the out of bounds.
it does.
All right.
Yep. And yeah, so like I said, with all these different plays I've shared, wings have a huge impact on the game. The crew has to work together on pass plays. And once you read pass, your job doesn't end just because the ball goes downfield, but you should hold your position because a lot can happen. And you just want to be able to move your eyes to the matchup that's important.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for your participation. I really appreciate it. That's
Yeah,
gonna
I find.
end the class.
Yeah. This is interesting material. A lot of good scenarios.
Yeah, I think so too.